Who's that guy over there? Raise your hands. Almost everybody. Well, here's Bill Gates, a very famous entrepreneur. And here I am. I am a young entrepreneur. But we don't have much in common. And I know what you're thinking now. Well, that's bad news for you. And you're right. That is bad news for me. I don't have billions. But I still think of myself as an entrepreneur. So who exactly is an entrepreneur? Society seems to have a pretty good idea of what an entrepreneur should be. There are two main stereotypes nowadays. The traditional narrative says that if you're good, if you're competent, you should have a position in society. Having a position means being a physician, being a lawyer. If you're an entrepreneur, so you do something uncertain, maybe you're not that good. Then there's a new narrative. A new narrative according to which entrepreneurs are geeks, freaks, maybe computer scientists. And all these traits are associated with wealth, success, Silicon Valley, and all that jazz. But this seems a lot like another version of the American dream. Another fairy tale sold at the nearest supermarket at $9.99. Another lie. When we shape our idols, when we shape our models, we look at the very top 10% of startups. But what about the other 90%? What about all the other startups that exist? I think the definition of entrepreneurship lies there also. The many entrepreneurs I've met in these 2 years shared one trait. They were all willing to change society, to change the world. They were all willing to push frontiers, especially those they really cared about. My present-day frontier is music education. And to tell you that, I'm going to share with you a little story. That kid there, it's me, playing the piano. I started playing the piano when I was 4 years old. When I was 8 years old, I practiced up to 4 hours a day. I had a very strict mom. But then, at 11 years old, I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit because I was feeling music as something of an exercise. I completely forgot all the music, all the passion, all the magic behind it. And as me, a lot of kids every year start playing an instrument. Annually, 175 million of them. And 85% of them give up in that same year. Why do we give up on music education? We do that because, you know, music is fun, but learning music is not that fun. You need to do technical exercises, you need to be by yourself. It's not that amusing. And it's like a great hole of boredom in the beginning of your music education. When I was in high school, a friend and I, Sylvia, co-founder, thought, what if there could be a bridge to surpass this hole? What if there could be a solution to this problem? I had found a problem I really cared about. I found something I was willing to change, and I also found a solution. We created Musa. Musa is a 3D game that runs on tablet, PC, or mobile that works like this. You put your tablet on top of your piano and you play your instrument. While you play your instrument, you also interact with the game because there's a recognition software inside that understands what you do. So basically, you don't need joysticks, you don't need touchpads. The only thing you need is music. While you play music, you also go on through the game. And in this way, even the most boring exercise becomes an adventure. And okay, that sounded like a great idea to me when I was 18, but I was 18. I was not even 20, I was not in university, I had nothing. But still, it sounded like a good idea. So I shared it with other friends that were studying engineering at the time. And we actually understood that we could be a team. Yeah, we could be a team. But still, we didn't kind of feel like Bill Gates or all of them, because we were not this genius coders that knew how to code even before they knew how to speak. And things changed when we participated to Crea Summer Academy. Crea Summer Academy is a program that is a sort of competition of ideas for startups. There, we met other young entrepreneurs. We met Belka, a software house that is based in Trento, Snai-Monnezo, creative consultants based in Belgium, designers based in Taiwan, They were young people that were actually making an effort to change the reality around them. And so, in that moment, we kind of thought, okay, then we might be music entrepreneurs. Why not? But then again, society schemes are not so easy to bend. 2 days ago, Il Sole 24 Ore issued a research according to which more than 50% of young Italians would like to start their own company. But 70% of them don't because they fear failure and they fear they will not have support. So, fear of failure is something very big. You know, how can we change anything if we don't allow ourselves to fail even many times? I have run a startup. That sounds nice. That failed. Doesn't sound that nice. You know, you don't like that. Your family doesn't like that. Your university doesn't like that. Even your future job interviewer won't like that. So, failure is discouraged in our society from the very beginning. When we start in schools, we have books we need to learn. And if you do your homework, you're going to be good. If you fail, it means you're not that good. But in entrepreneurship or in music, in order for something good to come out, you need to fail, fail, fail. You need to have a lot of trials before, and these trials are oftentimes very bad. And so we need a culture that encourages that kind of failure. But still, in our culture, we don't have that. We don't have a culture that encourages failure. We still think that nobody should pay you to fail. In Israel, they're doing something very interesting called fuck-up nights. In Tel Aviv, every month, the entrepreneurs of Tel Aviv gather together and share their biggest mistakes. They tell everybody, okay, I fucked up like this. And everybody laughs, everybody learns from that. They're trying to generate a culture that favors failure, that pushes everybody to fail. So, when we started out being serious about Musa, it was 2016. In May 2016, we completed our first prototype, and then off we went testing in schools. And as soon as we did that, a great gray cloud appeared over me. I was scared that everybody would think, well, that doesn't work, that I could fail. And the first prototype indeed had very horrible things we had to change. But the core idea was good. They liked it, they played along with it, and they learned something. Then obviously we modified it, and we saw some improvements. And so from that, we were encouraged to go on. But that big gray cloud of fear was still there, was still hovering up my head. What changed my mind were two things. We were incubated in Politecnico di Milano from March 2016 to May 2016. And then in July 2016, we got our first investment. For the very first time, someone was risking their own money to give us a chance. They were risking their own money to give us the possibility to fail. And in that moment, something inside me clicked. Some say that if you fear failure, if you doubt yourself, maybe you're not an entrepreneur in the end. Maybe if you have that kind of fear, you're not fit to do startup. But I believe the truth is different. I believe that entrepreneurs are made, they're not born. And the process of making an entrepreneur is mainly a cultural thing. How can you be willing to fail if everything they teach us from the very beginning is not to fail? I also think that, in my life, I don't come from a very wealthy background. So if I risk, I'm not going to have a safety net to sustain me if I fail. The safety net that is represented in my case is society. If society understands that what I'm doing is something valuable because I stepped out and I tried to change something, then that gray cloud of fear is not that scary anymore. And I think being entrepreneurial, as Paolo said before, is something that you can take everywhere, even in institutionalized contexts, like universities, hospitals, corporations. Because being entrepreneurial means that you can take the time, that extra time that is needed to convince others that, you know, things might be better this way. And if you do that, it means you like the things you do. So if you cannot be entrepreneurial in what you do, maybe you're not doing the right thing for you. I think that's a good criteria to understand if we like what we do and ultimately be happy, be more happy together. So I'm going to keep working, and I'm going to keep working to make learning music more fun and accessible to everybody. But I also hope that we together will shape a society in which entrepreneurs are made, in which failure is encouraged, in which we will encourage everybody to fail, experiment, and ultimately be a little more like musicians, always able to keep playing.